and welcome to another episode of The Lifting. Today's episode is being recorded on the 16th of July 2025. So I had to check that real quick because we are still at the 2025 Disclosure Now conference. By the time you see this, of course, we're not. But this is going to be a very special episode with Audra Walters and Michael. I can't pronounce your last name. Koff. Okay. Before we do anything, I now open this circle to true benevolence and no conflicting agendas at this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for all of ourselves, our friends, our family, our loved ones, to let healing energies in, let them love us, let them nourish us, and let them bring us to our highest good. We ask now for benevolence to come in and join us with no conflicting agenda so that we may have this conversation in great understanding. And we ask for malevolent and mischievous type beings to be now swept away so that we may have this conversation in peace. And with that and with great blessings that we always send your way, we say, so be it.
So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
Okay, at first I thought this was going to be a world of Sasquatch, because there's one of the forest people here. But there's also several other types of beings here, so this opened it up to the lifting instead. I did not know what category to put it in, and the lifting tends to be the miscellaneous category. So, in this way. So, I have two beings that are present at the moment. The forest person's name is Hegemal. And I believe he was out in the West Coast. I believe it's Oregon or Washington. And I also have another one by the name of Lars. He's an elemental. Isaac? They said he's tiny enough to actually stand on top of this little table. Okay. All right. And of course you, Isaac, but you're always around. Okay, but who is it that wishes to speak first? Because there's three of you. Isaac, I'm not even going to repeat that comment. Okay, let me see.
But while they hush it out, let's just tell this story to give some frame of reference of how we kind of met some of these. So when we were doing our talk at the conference, and again, there were a lot of empty seats, but Chris made a point, of course, to say, in truth, there are no empty seats. This is a full-packed audience because there's a lot of other beings that are here listening to the conference as a whole. And you felt the presence that Valiant Thor spoke and Valiant Thor's ship was around and all of this stuff. Well, interestingly enough, Audrey and your significant other, David, who's not here with us at this moment, but they were also in the audience, and they also were seeing other beings and stuff inside the auditorium. And one of them happened to be, because I want Audrey for you to tell people what little Lars was doing, but was in the audience, but made a point to speak to Audrey.
So when he made that comment, I got this feeling that something was in the back. And there was this little tree kid or like tree person, and he was like, you know how a little kid is like super excited, like he's in the candy store,
right.
And he's like rocking back and forth and be like, can you see me? Can you not? Can you see me? Can you not? And he's like, I'm in the human world, and I don't know if I should be here, but I'm in the human world.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and then when Joanna and I were out collecting shells, he followed us around, and I was trying to discern his name, and Isaac was coming up all with creepy names and stuff like that, and eventually I discerned his name was Lars. First I thought it was Lars. I'm like, no, that's too human a name, but Isaac kept saying it had a B in it. I'm like, okay, what is it? And he eventually said Blars. Oh, I thought it was Blar, or something like that, but it's Blars. And sometimes it's very difficult to discern some of these names, and they can be very simple like that. It's the tone or frequency tone which you're using. Because he was so excited, I kept getting this here, all over the place. And he is, I would say, in reality, if he was right here in this frequency, he'd probably be about here. just a little bit above the table here, and he looks like a little bonsai tree that kind of curls up. Yeah, and he's an elemental. I've encountered these very large elementals where they look like big vine clusters and everything. He's not that. He's like this tiny tree like elemental or dryad type of being. And as I'm looking at him right now, it's like he's looking right at me. He's right in this generalized area, or at least he's projecting to this area here. It feels more projecting. I'm not sure why the energies are so blobbish at the moment, but Isaac, he's off in a different part of the room here. And Hegemal, he's not in the space with us. He's off at a slight distance towards the ocean, I believe, on the beachhead there. Yeah, that way. And there's several other forest people and several other people. If you guys saw the previous video we posted on our talk at the 2025 Disclosure Now conference, you know there was multiple beings there, and also we spoke to Valiant Thor. I can feel the Venusian colonies off in the distance. I'm also sensing several other groups that are just kind of converging, positive ones that are converging on this space. So, I don't know if you had any comments, Michael?
I just want to say to Joanna for speaking up at the conference when something was going on that she had addressed, and stood in her power and was like, no, we're not doing that. You're done. Please move on. Respect for others. And I thought that was so beautiful, because you go to so many conferences and people just let people go to the mic and just run over and do whatever. And it takes away from other people. And so I thought that was so amazing to watch you own the space and say, no. We're moving on. Next question.
You're right. Well, thank you. And I'm assuming that they're going to see that. I don't think it's going to be cut out.
No, I won't cut it.
So you guys will probably know the moment.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. This will be aired after the conference material. You will have already heard and have context for what we are saying. Okay, which of you guys, which there is a very large group here that's off through the building. Okay, which one? Hegemal, Blars, or other? Blars first, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's been wanting to go first for the longest time.
Okay. Can you get my crystal? I forgot.
Sure.
There, and the amulet. I forgot to get that. All right.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
And you want the crystal thing?
All right. I completely forgot to do this. All right, Blars. All right.
He's like dancing, be like, yay!
All right. Okay. Let's see. He's like, Isaac goes, he's the grandson you've never had. Okay. All right. Okay, Blars. What do we do? Are you climbing on me? Okay. He's climbing up on me. Here. Okay. I channel through the crystal. Yes. You're on my head. Okay. And he's right here. Okay. Oh, you're sitting on my shoulder. Okay. That's fine. That's a little weird, but fine. Okay. I have a fairy, a fae by the name of Ben Orkfoil who clings to the back of my head when I channel him. So, okay. He's this big. So, all right. To the crystal, not my brain, please. I know you thought you were going to whisper in my ear, I understand, but that's... Yes, you can hold it. You want to pick it up and show on the camera, you pick it up and go ahead. No? Okay. But it's right here if you want to do that. Okay. He is right. I am a child. Sort of. Though we age slowly. He's saying basically the proverbial Yoda of the elemental world. I am actually young for my kind, but not so young. We age slowly and take many, many decades to get past this stage of childhood. I would be equivalent to one of your 5 or 6 year old in, you would say, mentality, but I'm actually almost a century old. With years, I am roughly 96, but by the time I am at what would be an adult age, I would be at least 250 to 300 years. This, for my type of elemental, I am, or you would call me as such. There are other names that are used, but elemental will suit. How can I translate? I've never channeled this way before. His voice box and neocortex is having trouble translating my energy pulses. But since elementals have a adverse effect on the central nervous system of humans, I would be considered a Dryadic life form, if I get this correct. I have some of the other beings you're hearing or feeling around are my family, and also the forest people are around us quite often. You would say, hail from this part of your country, but further north into your Carolinas. I felt energy pulses from this direction. As my family would say, I wandered off. But I also saw there are other beings around that sit with similarities to myself, and they eventually got word to family where I was. You would say I ran away, but that's not entirely completely true. We have portals we can jump with and back and forth. We can self-generate them through the frequencies. Trees can also be those portals for us. We can pass through them and leave our mark. He uses an example of he saw an alien shape or S-shape on a closet door, a wooden one in his father's house once, and saw a weird alien form like in the shape on the wood. This meant that the wood was being used as a doorway by countless species and left face marks in it, and other trees will form that transmutation after a while. I myself used a few up north, came down and used the palm trees that were around by your resort. But I felt this pulse, did not know at first what was going on, saw a convention and wanted to sit in on it. And this is Audrey when you saw me. And I followed some of the speakers around, yourselves most of all. Then I decided that I was going to stay and listen a while. Some of the beings I liked, some I did not care for. I was warned about the whole orchestra of beings, but you would say 90% of them were fine. And they still are. And these are the ones that are listening now. So I can take questions.
I just want to expand more on the fact that you felt a pulse. Because what does that actually mean? I'm kind of blown away that you were in the Carolinas and you registered something that made you curious to go see what it was all the way to the Carolinas. So can you explain further about what you mean by a pulse?
You would say a frequency marker? Or, how can I translate? An intersection of energies? Multiple channelers can do this, but at the same time, technology can also do this. That is very frequency based. Your devices can do this, but I'm not saying it was any one thing, it was a gathering point. And I knew there was something of curious nature about. And I could just think to the spot and go. And I found this with all of you. And I had never seen this before, and I have done things at the exuberance of a toddler, you would say. Even though I'm actually slightly older than a toddler. But you're hearing both his vocal wavelengths and my own, because I'm getting a grasping of what to do in this type of situation. Also, why the forest people are generously present. They walk amongst us often. And you also have a dragon on this property who was quite intimidating. I was not expecting a dragon presence. Had not seen one before. Heard of them. My parents have dealt with them before. But you have questions for me?
How are you liking the conference so far?
This is fascinating. Since I've never done this, I actually find it all fascinating and cool. So I'm pulling from his memory library of words. I find it fascinating, cool, energetic, and this spot has turned into an epicenter for this, and I find this very, very interesting, all the various types of people that are coming and going. It is a eclectic mixture of people, both channelers and seekers of wisdom, and also extreme skepticism. You encountered this evening. I was watching the man you were with earlier, the loud person.
His name is Christopher.
Yes. But I was seeing this and various other energy wavelengths of all sorts, and I can read thoughts, but not necessarily in an obtrusive way. It's more of like because people think things and they speak them, and like he thought himself shouting before he shouted, you see. He thought ahead of time, which was weird, but I do not know. There's humans do things in dualism. We don't do things in that kind of way. I mean, yes, can some go bad and some go good? Yes, but it's not like how humans think it and then say it. It's more of like we're in this state of being, and humans have forgotten that state of presence. So it's a dualism, even though there is a dualism with life, as I said before. But I'm liking this just fine, and liking all the different types of people, and not all of them, but liking watching the gathering. There's not many of these things in this way. So this is actually authentic in this way, where I can actually communicate with people like you and him, and can talk in this way. Again, I've never spoken like this before, and it's actually quite weird because I'm pulling off of his words. I do not use English language. I use frequency tones and you would say chemical reactions, but that's not entirely accurate. You hear me speaking English because he speaks English. His brain is translating my color changes and my frequency tones as English. But then you would hear me make sounds that would sound like words. Your brain translates as well, and your auditory center of your brain is like also a universal translator as well. And third eye, all of it. You then interpret based on familiarities. If this makes sense to any of you. Questions?
Question I have is, are you and the other elementals here the ones that are keeping the weather at bay so that we can do what we're doing, and then when we go to rest, let the storms come through?
Yes, there were requests put out for toning down the electricity during the daytime because of your equipment and because of the conference and people doing energetic work and everything. There was an effort, a concerted effort to hit the conference with fake weathered storms. Just like last year had more V2K, this was more weather control. I'm hearing his memory banks, he would say, of things, and I agree with him on this. Then we were able to control the weather ourselves. You see, the forest people can do this to an extent, but we got involved, my family did, to quell this. So this because it was based upon a request, not just from himself, but multiple parties here. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any further questions from myself?
No, just I'm glad you're having a good time, and I'm really glad because you walked, I think, with us as we were picking up some shells this morning. Yeah, so just thrilled that you made yourself known. Really happy about that.
Yes, and you were making comment off camera about the shells, some shells being poisonous. They have not found those. Those are, they look similar, but there are some in the ocean that would, if you got it in your bloodstream, you would have a bad time or touch it. But those over there are fine. Those had a type of creature in them that you wouldn't have been able to touch or eat. But those went down in the sand. They're a type of mollusk. But the shells are perfectly okay to touch. There are plenty of other creatures that you would not be able to do this. I myself have been to a sea before and seen some of these animals. They need to be respected in that way. Like your jellyfish, for instance. They have a poison in their tentacles. It's very similar to certain shell types. There's more than one, but those are further into the ocean. They do wash up from time to time. Those have a slightly rounder appearance than those triangular ones he picked up. But some of them do have points that are like that. So, but this was a query that was brought up before recording. But yes, I still would be careful with some things. They look pretty too. But they're highly toxic to humans and their blood. So I can switch over to Hegemal if you like.
Yes, and thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Hegemal. Yes. I told him my name was Terrence because certain frequencies are uttered with named syllables. This is why some beings will use pseudonyms as a form of protection against the unknown or against a known combative element. The reason I said Terrence is because in our language, that particular name as a form of protection is like you have an it means calm. Terrence or Terrence means protect. That's why I use this as a shield. Now, my name Hejamal. My parents saw this as a fitting name because I am a teacher of the proper use of psionics and psionic abilities within my tribal cluster, and also a representative, well, not avatar, but an ambassador in that way to teach the proper use of psionics. Your friend David met me a while back and was spooked over something, and I was attempting to teach him the use of psionics, and he didn't wish it at that time. I come to humans that have a difficult time controlling the non-calm moments, the outbursts, because if you have an outburst and you're a highly psionic individual and you have fear and you go to speak to any number of beings and you're not properly grounded, they think you are shouting at them, and it could be totally innocent, and they will misinterpret. He knows the Charles J. Hall material about how he said he was going to rip up garbage and toss it in the desert, let it blow away. A tall white misinterpreted this as an act of war or threat because there was grounding that needed to take place at the time. It is no fault of anyone's, except there was a misinterpretation. This was quickly quelled. This is what I do. I initiate, or try to initiate, the calm, Terrans, protect. These are words. He misinterpreted Terrans as a name, and I was just saying, Terrans, protect. This is in our ancient language. I would be more of a Lemurian descent lineage, you would say. That is a offshoot of a Lemurian word and a bit of native tongue in there as well, just like calm. So, do you have questions for me?
So what do you think of the conference so far? What is the Moot's perspective?
Yes, the Moot. They were, along with your friend Fuma, of whom I got to meet him and elements of the Moot at your conference here, at that talk, that blessing in the morning, which was wonderful. By the way, the Moot consensus is that the proper use of psionics must be taught. Other tribes members might disagree, but they have been outvoted. You would say the tribe has spoken. So, in this particular way, multiple tribes have spoken, and their chieftains have spoken. The Moot consensus came together and said humans should be taught the old ways, or at least helped to remember the old ways, instead of being just caught in your age of technological development. The old spiritual platforms, the old calm, the ways of nature, walking in nature, connecting with nature. In the psionics, in this, if you have a high amount of that energy built, you must learn to calm more than anyone. If you have temperament, yes, my people should not talk in that area. Some have been so temperamental, they have ripped the roofs off of homes and torn piping apart, things of this nature, and scared the living crap out of humans. Yes, this can be funny if in the right situation, but this portrays us as monsters, and this is something I cannot accept. This is because those brethren of mine, younger ones usually, are gaslit by the media that you have around, basically portraying us as such. I'll show you, monster, and they'll do things that I get it personally. But in this instance, humans, the phrase you use is cool heads prevail, or cooler heads prevail. I am in that teaching modality. This is the reason I commit myself and my tribe is out of the state of both Oregon and up into Washington, and we connect to the Vancouver Island tribe as well. You met another of my brethren earlier this evening with someone else, another young man who is of one of the two tribes and the two chieftains that I interact with in that area. Did you have questions, anyone?
So I know that you want to teach the proper, what do you call it, cybernet?
The use of psionics, the proper use of psionics.
Psionics. I know that you want to teach the proper way. Is it because it's causing a lot of disturbances or problems that you're starting to uncover, or is it more like it's time now for them to properly learn it?
Both, actually. You would say there's a great disturbance in the force. As humans start to uncover these things, they see things and they start to freak out. In the freaking out, you cannot act as you did previously to, you would say, waking these things out of these abilities up, but they've always been around. There's not really an activation or an awakening. It is more like a realization to what you have always had around is a thing. When people come to that realization, they freak. Some people call it Kundalini activation, some people call it awakening, but it is really the realization that what you imagine is real, and what is real is not necessarily imagined. And when those become co-synchronous, it is causing a disturbance in the energy. If that person is constantly freaking by the things they're seeing and they're in that wavelength, they think they've gone crazy. No fault is no judgment, but I must come in and help guide these things to these things. But also to your other point, is because the time has now come to, how can I say it, to actually teach these things and communicate. So the moot has come to the consensus that both are a package deal. In the teaching of the Nahan and also the teaching of the of people that have gotten to a certain state. So there's a package deal here. This is, I hope, answers.
Yeah, it has. Thank you.
Anyone?
Any questions?
So I'm noticing this is my first time at a conference like this. I have psionics. I know other speakers here have psionics. And there are people in the audience who are waking up to the fact they have psionics. So is that something that the unification of all of us being in this space kind of sent a spark that is called to the Lemurians and the other Cedars to say, okay, they're waking up, the time is now, they're gathering, let us reunite, and as you said, now's the time to teach and help those that are trying to teach others.
There's also a compatibility issue as well. Even if you have a psionics that is very blatant, it doesn't always mean there is a compatibility with an energy that you exist within around others that you exist around. Well, there could be a rub, you'll call it, or that person's lane might be somewhere else to use it elsewhere, and that has to be determined not by us but by the person in their life path and their oversoul. But yes, when there's also what Blars left out was some of the pinpoint of energy were the psionic fields of multiple people as well, making this big spotlight. When this occurs, it's more of a beacon. This is why you have so many people. Then you have hedge bettors out there, and then you have others of course rolling the dice, and you have others trying to interfere with such a unification. This is what's going on. This is why conferences like this are so invaluable to that voice and to that purpose. So, I hope this answered the question.
Yes, thank you.
And so the one last thing we have to talk about, what I call the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is something that Chris and I actually really became aware of this afternoon, which was the uncomfortableness and the lack of desire for certain groups like yourself and others to be around one another. That it really is significant. We oftentimes think of, humans clashing, and we don't want to be around something. But this was happening to them today as well. And I thought, let's talk about the element in a room, because it's a very complicated situations with a lot of people with a lot of different belief systems currently, but also with a lot of different guides and different guys with different agendas.
Oh yes, a lot of different guides, quote unquote, and hedge bettors, or you call it hedge betting with God, along with, and you say elephant in the room, there were several that did resemble elephants. They were quite large. I wouldn't say large per se, but not as big as an elephant, but a fairly large human. They're ones that are just more information gatherers, and there are others. There were some pale white folk around. There were also some robotic folk around too that were information gatherers. These are more of a lurker type that they gather information. And then you had other ET races that, let's just say, they carry a bit of a silver spoon in their mouth. And you know who I'm talking about. You call them the princes of the universe. That's a apt analogy. And then there were positive Nordics around as well that we were conferring with. You had an Asgardian group around, a small one. You had a Lanyalosian group, a small one. And the majority of the beings that were around were beings like myself, forest people, some elemental types, and you had a couple of these wraith types that were trying to cause trouble, and you had some reptilians causing trouble, but the grand majority of who was around were positive Nordics and ourselves. And like I said, a couple of androidish types and a couple of these elephant types, and a few others there. Your buddy Isaac was around. Let's just say he's the guy at the party that goes around and talks everyone's ear off. He was going around talking to everybody, and a few groups just stood there like he didn't exist. So, like everybody's going, okay, weirdo's coming, that kind of thing. The only reason I do this because he's listening, and we did this to him basically all day today. So,
but it's also showing the point that it's really no different. See, people want to believe that it's so much more different out there, that none of this stuff and drama exists, but it actually exists everywhere.
Yeah. There's drama all over the place. Trust me. Trust me. It's as above, so below. If you saw the Galactic Senate, it would be very much like your parliamentary bodies, shouting and arguing, but they do get things done on occasion. Mm-hmm. Our people are trying to get a seat at that table, as you know. And so we had to, in order for Galactic Federation rules, we had to come up with names for the things that we were teaching. But we are not always the ones that come up with these titles. Like the teacher of the proper use of psionics. Yes, I was more like a harmonious type teacher, but it was them that asked that we have a properly thought out title and a ranking and headings and subheadings under the subheadings. So their bureaucracy knows no bounds, so we were compliant in that area. Now, with when it gets ridiculous is when it's like 10 pages long over the same idea. It's like somebody trying to describe the edges of a screw head or something like that, with each, like what the metal is like, or what the how the texture is, and all this other stuff. So that is the level of anal retention that you're up against there. But I kid, because the ones that we dealt with today were not quite that bad. But at any rate, getting our presence out there, we are under these different subheadings now. Even though we didn't have detailed descriptors of our role before, under these subheadings, you have others that are more protectors, that carry weaponry. They're like guards. You've run into several of them. They're under the protector or like law enforcement classification. Others, like the sentinels for tribes, that would be it. Myself, teacher, and various other ranks. This is how the Galactic Federation wants this, to make sure that we are in compliance. We're fine. We will be that descriptive. But where we have limits is if it goes into hefty of a description for one simple idea. We are more in the calm. We're in the moment, and we don't often need those large descriptors. So I hope that actually gives you an idea of how it actually is. But other groups have different ideas of how to describe the same thing. So what do? They go, okay, here's this idea. This group calls it this. This group calls it this. This group calls it this. This name, and how many names does that group have for the same thing? It's all cataloged in a big card catalog. And this, yes, it's fairly accurate, and things are added to that card catalog, but when you are first introduced to this, it can be quite tedious and a little bit annoying, because their interviewers will sit down and say, okay, and what do you do? And then you describe it. Oh, no, you also mean this, and this? Yes, you also mean this, yes. This is how this went. Those groups were here as well. We were here, and other groups that don't get along with each other were also in the same room. So, that said, they could be on opposite ends of the room, but this territory was neutral. You want a neutral territory so that everyone has to play nice. Now, would they harm each other out there like in sanitary? No. There are rules in place. You don't necessarily have to like each other. You just can't harm each other. So that's the clue. They're hoping that with exercises like this, they can have the totality of Earth be just as neutral. In that instance, no one would be allowed to harm one another. And I hope this does happen in this way, but it is being interpreted as something other than it isn't by humans, if this makes sense.
Yeah, so my curiosity is, in this, because you called it an exercise, right? Because it is an exercise of getting you guys all into a neutral place. So who is acting as, I guess you would almost think of this a high school ground, a principal or a mediator. There's got to be somebody around here as well for that purpose. Is there? Or am I wrong?
This varies. Some are elected to that particular task. Other ones, self-appointed. Your friend Isaac would fit the latter, self-appointed in that.
That surprised me.
But we jest, but he's actually done it. So, and others would be like, okay, but he's actually more representing the Lanulosian group and Earth, since he's both. But it changes from group to group. It changes, that role switches and changes. But I must digress because your buddy wishes to actually answer this. So, I will dislodge at this moment in time. I thank you all for this. I will come back when and it's just us having this conversation, and not 10,000 others breathing down my neck here. So I will do this. My patience, my adhalam has limits, so I will back off. I resemble the remark of self-appointed ambassador. But I do this because I care, you see. So, it is more like they judge me as a comedian and a goofball, but it is because they cannot handle such a great amount of humor, you see. They cannot handle the greatness of laughter, you see. Some of them are quite stringent, and as I have said in the past, those princes of the universe have a silver spoon crammed firmly up their buttock. So I will say that they are the ones that you can heckle most of all. Those are those Aldebaran Nordics that everyone loves to point and go at them. Now there's the Plajaran, Pleiadian types and stuff. They were present too, but then you had their weirdo counterparts that no sense of humor, and those are the ones I was heckling the most. But at any rate, the question before was about, I believe, about an ambassador, an actual elected one. Yes, this does happen. Now, can someone claim to be that in a group and say, yes, I'm this? Yes, you can. It depends on the crowd. It depends on an event like this. They kind of draw straws at that point. Because on the Earth, it's not as refined as out there in that area. So in this area, it's Wild Wild West, so everybody's like, okay, who gets to represent this group this time? But each group already has either an elected ambassador with each one that comes in. But for the group, for everybody, they want to actually have somebody that's like an organizer. Like O'Brien and Ida are that for the conference, you see. So they want that. The Galactic Federation wants this. Just like I'm more of, in my actual job for them, I'm more of an archivist type, or Lillian and Vesa are as well. They work with the MDTF, sometimes Multidimensional Task Force, all this. But sometimes beings must switch roles in order to get a particular bit of communication done and a bit of contact done. If this makes sense, like say, with my role, they'll see me as the one wearing the pants, let's just say, and they'll go, okay, he was self-appointed anyway, we'll just go with it. Because you would say a ranking member of in a room, like say if you had military and let's say a commander or a captain, both of them die, and for some reason the next rank would be the one in charge. Say if nobody in the room was wearing a GF or Galactic Federation uniform of any kind, they were just there as themselves, just guys in shorts and t-shirts and everything. A lot of them are looking for, hey, where's the guy in the uniform? On Earth, they don't always get that. So they're looking around, scratching their heads and they're scratching their butt. So they see somebody wearing one, they're like, that guy. We don't care who that is at the moment. So I just automatically appointed myself this because of this. Well, not just because. It actually made more sense to do this because a lot of people now recognize me, recognize my name, recognize my voice, and recognize everybody in the room. So I figured, why not? Even though technically I kind of retired, quote unquote, this role I could definitely take up. So, questions?
Do you guys have any questions for Isaac?
No.
We're thinking.
How are you enjoying the conference?
Yes, it's actually quite interesting. I've seen a couple of conferences myself, but this one is actually different. than other ones. This one has an air of authenticity to it. This one actually has the ideas stick. And even if it were no longer here in this spot, those ideas would still stick. So, but yes, I'm enjoying this just fine. I myself, unbeknownst to him, have been walking up and down the beach, and several other people of my people have been walking around as well, scoping some things out, actually enjoying not just the beach and the water. We've been enjoying actually sitting around and talking. And in your little restaurant down there, that Rum Runners restaurant, we've actually been down there several times around people. You guys probably spotted a couple of us down there. Also in the room where he said the chairs weren't empty. I, myself, and others were sitting in those chairs, watching a whole lot of you. We found this very interesting. We were also making sure that the correct voice for himself was actually the one that was talking was the one advertised. Even though it's up to him to discern this, we had to he requested some assistance because there were so many voices, and we were trying to just kind of sort the rabble out. But enjoying, yes. Beach, yes. People, yes. And other people that aren't at the conference actually have spotted a few of us as well. And some children as well. We just kind of look at them and wink. That's about it. And kind of creepishly too, partially, I might add. But some little children have spotted me a couple of times. Children sometimes are in that frequency where they don't have that filter and can see us in that frequency. They spotted some of us. They've spotted all they would see is a guy in with large red hair, needs a suntan and has shorts and a Hawaiian shirt on. That's basically what I look like at the moment. I'm actually not wearing the uniform at the moment. We wanted to blend in, but apparently, that's kind of pointless and people can't see you. But so I, somebody else pointed that out to me as well. But yeah, but eventually I was in my uniform. So does anyone have anything else?
So it was an interesting day because Michael was sharing with us, and for those of you who don't know, Michael has his own podcast, and many of the people here you have had on your podcast. So this was your first time here at the conference, and I thought it was a really interesting conversation that we were having because I think you were hopefully pleasantly surprised that you were meeting people who genuinely were as they appeared on camera, because you never know if that's someone's true self or not, and it's kind of hide it here. So I didn't know if you wanted, to say anything about that or.
I'm enjoying the fact of meeting people who I've met on my shows. I've been on their shows, been on panels with, and you get a feeling for them, and then you go and meet them in person, and sometimes their energy is slightly different because people have an online persona.
Yes.
People have a real life, personal life persona. So it was nice to see people here welcoming you and coming up and recognizing you and being like, oh, I'm so glad you're here, versus like you would expect someone to go, oh, you're here, okay. Not, what do you do? Oh, I remember now. And so it was nice to have that people recognize, and so you feel like the work you're doing is being noticed and is taken apart. And one of the questions for you, Isaac, I was thinking about is, with all of us being here, and we know some of us are targeted. We know some people are just waking up and feeling the pressure of being flooded with memories. But I'm also noticing everyone seems to be self-containing and not going into what I would call drama mode. And not meaning disrespect, because we've all been there.
Yeah.
But my question is it you all And when I say you all, I mean the galactics that are here represented. Are you coming in and helping them to be able to process and to feel safe and protected?
In part, yes, I do like the fact that people are the same on cameras, off camera. There cannot be a double persona, or as Hegemal says, a dualism within their voice. Also, Lars said the same, that humans exist as two instead of one. Even though there is, yin and yang to people, you don't have to have that 50-50 split that way. So we have helped with some of the Calm the Forest people have as well, and a lot of the positive groups that are around. We gathered and packed in like a big sardine can because of some of the other groups out there, the Silver Spoon group out there. I will keep we'll actually pretty much call them that from this point forward. Decided that they were going to come in here and say they were the masters of the universe. He-Man, they are not. So, in the princes, they object to princes. They're higher than that. So we'll just call them masters of the universe in this way. The Silver Spoon masters of the universe. But in this way, they were trying to be buzzkills. So we had to pack in more people because they have a fairly large psionic field, and they tend to be the bigger buzzkills for these types of events if they don't get their way. So we had to bring in a bunch of our people, as well as some of the other regular folk here that were being primed to argue and fight. Wanted to bring in that calm, or the Force people call calm in this way. Bring in this calm, and even saying that word will bring about a calm. You have to say it with a like they would. And it's a spell word that will instantly bring about a calm, or it will create a calm by removing a rogue element that is not calm. Because remember this in the future. If someone then walks away from that and they couldn't stand this, that means their frequency could not handle that calm, you see. So this is what the groups in their own way have been doing with their frequency. They wanted this to not be attacked this time around. So they wanted to make sure, even there has been, and the bad guys upped the ante a little bit by bringing in some of their, let's just say, experts, quote unquote, to try to hold the space. So many more of us had to hold the space. Not all of us are guards, not all of us are soldiers, warriors, or protectors, but we all understood the importance, the unified importance of keeping the peace and keeping calm. So at that point, we basically became cops at that point. So, loosely deputized, it's more of a mutual interest, if this makes sense.
It does.
Well, great. And what you're really alluding to is the fact that your energies being there, although you're not seen, do have an effect on the people that are around you.
Mm-hmm.
Not just who you were actually trying to make sure their energies weren't overwhelming, but it bleeds into what we as humans can feel as well. So you're lending to the calm that we all feel too,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, what you're talking about,
Right.
Michael. Yeah.
Yes, that and all the regular folk that were just here on vacation here in this building.
Mm-hmm.
Some were being primed to basically have their own episode of Cops. So this had to be quelled as well, because some of these bad guys are trying to find weaknesses outside of your disclosure circle to intrude and disrupt. So therefore, the totality of the building had to be shielded.
Which makes sense.
Yes. So when you have that, anything can become a rogue element if it's not, what's the term I'm referring to, written into your law of one protection, you see? So the totality of that building had to be wrapped in a bow, let's just say. So this is what we had to do.
Well, great. Anybody else? Or we're going to close this off? Or
Real quick, I want to just ask, since you're representing Earth,
Yes,
Do you-
self-appointed representative.
Yes. How do you feel about where we're heading to with the fact that we're like still factioning off? Do you see that in the near future we actually do evolve past it, or are we going to continue on the path of keeping that dualistic?
Everyone will always be elements of both, because you have happy moments and angry and sad moments to see, and joyful moments. But at the same time, yes, I do see people evolving this. It is actually going to be a must to be part of the galactic community. You have to get along with those around you. You don't necessarily have to be in the same room. You don't have to like each other. You don't have to love one another. Just agree to disagree and make sure you're not harming one another. This we see is happening, yes, in the not too distant future. It'll start with little fires of information like what you're doing as what we're doing here, building this bridge. Again, just because also someone's toxic, of course, you don't necessarily have to keep them around. You don't have to be around them. That's what the splitting of the densities is, where their vibration is too vastly different than your own. But if you happen to be stuck in situations with them, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be vile towards them, even if they were this. Even if they were very retaliatory and very gaslighting and all these things. Yes, justice is needed for some of these things that are going on, like they're talking about the secret space program. All these things. Yes, these things need to come. Yes. Will they in the way that's expected? No. So, the earth spins on, life moves on, and all of you need to be in this together. I know it sounds cliche, but agree to disagree, at least. Just like that loud person you were around tonight. I will use him as an example. Even though he had some truths and some things that even I disagreed with. And that takes a lot, actually. But, and he said things loudly to me that I highly disagree with at times, but only he does it with his mind, with the psionics, and it's like a hurricane sometimes. We know it's basically, he comes by it honestly through lineage and all of this. With that example, like you were attempting to quell the situation versus escalating it, this was actually brought to people's attention. You were seeing a swath of people at the table of all different mindsets. Some left, some attempted to negotiate, some were argumentative, and some stayed silent, and yourself actually de-escalated. That table was an example of literally every type of person. This is what is needed. This was a agree to disagree type of situation. This is where this starts.
Well, great. Well, thank you for saying that. I'm glad to hear your perspective.
So, what did I just see over that light? Because I saw something move in the light stand and while you were talking, and so I was wondering, was that Blars making himself known, or...
Yes, I'm not a ventriloquist projectile vomiter, so I cannot do that. That was him playing over by the light like a child would. So you were actually seeing him. He was doing his little shadow puppet thing in the light, like if somebody goes, that's what he's doing. He wanted you to see this, but he didn't want himself on camera. So his parents do not want this. But he made himself visible to you. You'll see most of those experiences will be off recordings and off camera. They're more of a self-exploratory or self-realization or actualization type moment, usually. This is why, in the paranormal field, it's both skeptic and believer will have to agree to disagree on some things and also work together as team members. Now, with that, it's not always about proof, as your loud friend was saying. It is more a connection and communication. Yes, that proof will come. Yes, the scientific method is absolutely a wonderful thing. But it cannot be used to beat people over the head with like a cudgel. So, yes, you want all of these factors together. They already are one thing. They already are one thing. So that proof doesn't always come in a way you expect. So the point I'm trying to make is, when all of this unifies, what people thought were elements of proof, elements of science, elements of religion, elements of all these things, won't exactly be in the same shape they left it the day before. If this makes sense.
It does, thank you.
I know I'm being vague, but earlier today, and I will not delve into private situations, but we had to be vague in how we speak in situations where a truth is about to burst free, or that dam is about to burst free. You see, that, how can I put this? If also you don't want guides, quote unquote, that are overly vague, like you think they're teaching you something and they're not, but also Spirit will also withhold some things until you learn some stuff about it. If somebody like myself it sounds like I have an air of vagueness, it is actually Spirit that is basically saying there is something about to be learned that is of quality, even though he does not like it when beings hold back. And if any beings hold back, I would be cautious for 99% of the time. But Spirit, every now and again, will say, wait a minute. And that's when we hold back. That is the only time we hold back. So, I don't like it, he doesn't like it, some other people don't like it, but that is what it is. So, I will leave this here if anyone has anything else for me.
No, it's been great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's very blue and yellow in here at the moment. When I open my eyes, it has this weird, blue, yellow, hazy kind of in here. You always know you've hit that proper state when you have this blue, purpley, yellowy kind of, and a little bit of green in there too. Okay, yeah, that's actually quite interesting. So, yeah, that's interesting about Terrence. I didn't know that was actually a Sasquatch word. I thought that was his name. I thought he was using a name. They like to use pseudonyms as a blocker, but he was basically saying protect. So,
I like it. So now we know 2 words.
yeah, we know 3 because they gave me their word for chaos, of which I cannot remember at the moment. So they basically gave me calm, chaos, and now protect. So the Force people did. I will have to look that up on another show that was done at some point. That for whatever reason they said that word doesn't hold in the brains of humans. Their word for chaos.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but I'm getting so sleepy.
No, you're all right.
We're
So we'll close this off. So you're good.
You're
Okay.
good.
So as of this moment in time, I now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas. So as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.